Hello everybody and welcome back. It's time for another Neckbeard story. Are you excited? Because I'm excited. This is from Reddit user Check Your Danish. And yes, it's spelled C-Z-E-C-H. Which, that's punderful, darling. I dated a neckbeardless neckbeard. Well, as we all know, it's not the fedora, it's the fedora that defines them. Hello, Moonhorse.
Hi.
I love your videos, and I want to share with you the story of one of the neckbeards I dated. There's more to come. Oh boy. A few notes. This took place around 2008-2009. I am female, and I was about 18, 19, and kind of dumb when I dated this guy. I'll refer to him as HH, and he was about 24 to 25. I had never heard the term neckbeard at this point in my life. So when I was 18 and 19, I dated someone whom I've since come to realize was indeed a neckbeard, despite his lack of a physical neckbeard. Even though he was unable to grow a beard, he did eventually grow and proudly don a wispy, pervy mustache that frankly made him look like a pedo. Oh boy. He was skinny, pasty white guy with thick glasses and a fedora. No shit. When I met him at the head shop he worked at. I was 18 and dumb with a horrible taste in men. Petite, Norse looking with a blonde pixie cut. I was in the late stages of I am a badass phase, so when he asked for my number, I thought it would be cool to possibly date an older guy who worked at a head shop. For those who are unfamiliar, a head shop is a store that sells pipes, rolling papers, and other smoking-related items. Words that rhyme with gong, if you catch my drift. I live in Alberta, Canada, and marijuana was still illegal at this point, but the head shops were still around long prior to legalization. HH and I went on a couple dates, and it was pretty fun at first. He knew a lot of people, and he would take me to parties, and would regularly smoke me up. All seemed good in the world. Then he started taking me to his house. The first time we were going to go listen to a new album from a band we both loved, an Icelandic alternative band called Sigur. I hope I said that right. I didn't experience the true level of filth for a couple of months. As I later found out, he would keep me in certain areas and would get his roommates at the time to clean for him before bringing me back to his house. Eventually, his then roommates got sick of cleaning up after him and moved out, so the state of the house deteriorated rather quickly. I wish I had taken photos of HH's kitchen, desk, and bedroom at their worst so I could show you, but at the same time, I'm glad I'm able to spare you the unpleasantness of those photos. Also, because this was 2008, I had a Motorola flip phone which took photos with the same picture quality as those taken by a potato. If you're snacking while reading/listening to this, I recommend stopping, unless you have a really iron stomach. I went to his bedroom once, and only once. The smell almost knocked me on my ass. The first thing I noticed was that you could not see the floor. I assume it was carpeted, but I never actually saw, so I can't confirm. It was completely covered with dirty clothes, fast food containers, a small bucket where he would put the Kleenexes after he used them. Ugh. There were 2 or 3 hills of old musty clothes, including a few pairs of crusty panties beside the bed, which he said were his ex's. I later found out that he would smell these while wanking. Ew! They had broken up 2 years prior. Oh, that makes it so much worse. HH never washed his sheets, even when I brought him a new set. There was a sort of wall shelf around half the room, which was loaded with glasses, drink containers, and improvised ashtrays, which he never emptied. He would be furious when I refused to go to his room to be intimate or spend the night, as in addition to being repulsed by the smell, I was genuinely afraid of contracting some kind of virus or infection. He never understood why, even though I explained to him dozens of times. 10 years on, and I still have nightmares about being in that fucking room. Yeah, I don't blame you. Holy shit, man. I don't think I got it from his room/house, but after about a year, I did develop a small cancerous growth on my cervix that needed to be surgically removed. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Thus resulting in me not being able to have sex for about 6 weeks. HH was furious with me and made accusations of me cheating. Wow, what an asshole. I showed him the aftercare/recovery paperwork from my doctor. He even came with me to a couple of follow-up appointments, but he was still convinced that I was sleeping around or just didn't want him. Fuck that guy. What a fucking asshole. I never cheated on him. The only realistic answer to him was that I was a whore. He pressured me into sex a few times during my recovery and also refused to be gentle or even wash his fucking hands, which did indeed land me back in the hospital. I was told by doctors that it was possible I might need chemo if the growth came back, and HH laughed at me and accused me of faking it for attention. Whoa! Oh my god, this guy is like 10 kinds of a fucking asshole. I definitely should have broken it off several times over. You definitely should have broken a fucking chair over his head while you're at it. HH also had a cat that he was far too lazy to take proper care of. He was too cheap to buy a proper litter box and would have been too lazy to clean it anyway. So what he did instead was, brace yourself, cut cereal boxes in half and have the poor cat use those until they were soaked with piss and shit. Oh my god. He would then just toss the boxes into the bedroom closet where they would sit in the dark and fester. Oh no. Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, that's just like a million kinds of disgusting. Sadly, the poor cat eventually developed kidney failure and had to be euthanized after eating or coming into contact with who knows what in that fucking house. Oh, poor kitty. The kitchen was also disgusting. Every inch of the counter space was covered with dishes, empty fast food containers, sticky stuff, crusty stuff, and God knows what else. I never once saw HH cook anything, but the stove looked like it was used to cook an entire package of bacon every day, and the grease was just never cleaned up. The summer months were the worst. I'd never seen so many fruit flies in my life. They would explode out of the trash can like a sentient cloud whenever anything was tossed into the infrequently emptied bin. I refused to walk barefoot in that house, but especially in the kitchen, because there was always a distinct layer of crumbs, bits of food, and general debris. Also because I once cut my foot on some glass from a bong that had been dropped months prior and never properly cleaned up. Oh wow. I got a nasty infection on my foot from that, even after cleaning it promptly. The doctor said the bacteria that caused the infection likely entered my foot at the very moment I got the cut. Broken glass on the floor is one thing, but dirty, germ-ridden broken glass? What the fuck, man? Oh my god. This is just... whoa. What I've described thus far had been bad, but his desk in the living room was the mecca of this disaster area. It was covered in garbage, countless cigarette butts, he would keep them for spliffs, and tons of dishes and empty fast food containers, all with varying levels and colors of mold. Ugh. He was a total TV junkie and would sit there for hours binge watching his shows, eating, and chain smoking cigarettes and spliffs. He would pee in bottles under the desk so he wouldn't have to get up, but then he would never get rid of them. Oh, that's foul. Oh my god. One day I decided to clean his desk for him, try and spark a desire in him to live a cleaner environment. Instead, he screamed at me for throwing out his weeks-old cigarette butts, but also because I didn't get rid of the piss bottles and the one shit-filled container I found. Are you fucking serious? No. Oh my god, no. Because I was too grossed out to even touch them. Yeah, understandably so. Finding those while cleaning definitely should have been a breaking point. Again, I was young and dumb. I would sit on the couch maybe 3 meters away from this junk pile while I played my DS and he watched his shows. He made me keep my volume all the way down so he could listen to his shows at full volume. I once turned the volume up to listen to the music while my Luxio evolved in Pokemon Diamond, and I was promptly screamed at. This guy is just... There's just so much fucking wrong with this dude. Holy shit. He would go through at least 6 roommates in a year because no one wanted to live in that filth, and no one wanted to clean up after him. After a year of dating, he asked me to move in, and I told him that I would consider it if we deep cleaned the entire house. This resulted in a tantrum from HH, and him accusing me of cheating / not loving him / whatever other dumb shit he could come up with. In his mind, this was still a yes, and that I would clean it all myself. Christmas rolled around, and HH became a lot more demanding since I'd been spending more time at home. My mom had left my dad a couple months prior, and he was deeply depressed. So, I would forego some social outings every week to spend more time with him. I'd been very upfront with HH about this, meaning that I'd not be moving out anytime soon as my dad really needed my support at this time. He threw an enormous fit when I told him that I would be spending Christmas with my father, and not his family 4 hours away, especially since he had only given me a single day's notice, and had basically just told me what I was going to do. He actually gave me an ultimatum. With a cocky smirk and a smug tone, he told me, "It's either me or your dad." I guess he was expecting me to drop to my knees and beg his forgiveness and tearfully pledge my never-ending love to him, because his reaction to my answer shook him to the core. I looked at him for a couple seconds before telling him not to let the door hit him in the ass, or the spot where an ass would have been on someone with even the slightest amount of muscle tone, on the way out of the house. His jaw dropped, and he stammered. HH genuinely believed that I would ditch my heartbroken father to go sit on his couch and play my DS in silence while he chain-smoked and binge-watched TV shows on his computer on Christmas Eve, and then drive 4 hours in the morning to see his family, all of whom hated me anyway for not wanting to have a baby with him right away. He never gave me back any of my things that I had left at his house, which was fine because I never would have been able to get rid of the smell from his house anyway. After I stopped going to his house, my health vastly improved, so I think there was some kind of mold growing, possibly in places other than the dirty dishes and food containers. I never saw bugs, other than the fruit flies, or mice, although I suspect there definitely were some. I'm glad there are no rats in Alberta, otherwise there probably would have been some in there at that point too. 10 years later, I'm with a wonderful man who now loves and appreciates me and respects my close relationship with my family. He's clean and tidy, he does his share of the cleaning, he doesn't have a goddamn wispy pedo stash. I also have a great relationship with each of my parents now. They're both much happier. I saw HH a few months ago at a convenience store when we went to visit my boyfriend's grandparents for Christmas. He looks just like he did a decade ago. My boyfriend didn't know who he was and politely held the door to the store open for him. He tried to tell him I was a slut or a cheater or whatever, generally tried to make my boyfriend want to break up with me. I was just trying to ignore him, but my boyfriend, being the wonderful man that he is, just laughed and said, "Oh, you must be HH. Yeah, she told me about you. Are you potty trained yet, or do you still shit in containers under your desk?" His face dropped and he walked briskly away. I love my boyfriend so fucking much. Your boyfriend sounds fucking awesome. That is really funny. Holy shit, though. That guy is like... I have no words. That is hoarder on a whole different level. That is just like... So there are certain types of hoarders which I've seen, you know, I watch the shows and stuff like that, but I've heard about who just generally enjoy the filth. They like the fact that their house is disgusting. They think they're so much smarter and better and all this other stuff for having a house that's this gross. Somehow they feel like they're defying some sort of convention, when in actuality, it's only making their life worse. And I just, wow. This guy fits that to a fucking T, you know? That is just terrifying and weird. I'm so sorry you had to put up with that. It reminds me of some Neckbeard friends I knew, and when I would go to their house, it was like, I don't want to touch anything. Everything in here is disgusting. These were the same Neckbeard friends and a few Legbeard friends that I had who would always be like, well, I don't know why you don't want to, like, have a sleepover and stay overnight. And it's like, yeah, because I don't want to get some kind of disease. It's like, dude, I can smell your house from outside. That's a bad sign. Just, ugh. So yeah, I've seen the general nightmare that you're talking about there, my friend, and oh boy. Yeah, I'm glad you're far and far away from that, so, oh man. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed this and would like to send in your own story, you can do that by going to r/MoonhorseStories and sending it there. And if you would like to support this show, keep the lights on and all that kind of good stuff, you can do that by donating to Patreon or by buying something from the merch store. Links to all that and more in the description down below. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, just to piss YouTube off. I would greatly appreciate it. And I love you all so very much. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!